Hello and welcome. So today we are going to begin our November Art Circle journal prompt. So if you had seen a video, one of the videos I had uploaded in the month of October, I had already kind of let it, what's the term I'm looking for, the word? I don't know. I kind of already let it slip. That's what I was trying to say. Let it slip that the November journal prompt for our art circle is going to be where we do our own soul painting. So if you've been following me on social media and you follow along with my art journey that I share of the things that I do in my studio, I have been working on a new collection of paintings titled Soul Paintings. So they are faceless shapes of figures on canvas, and I thought it would be fun to do one for our November journal prompt, and we are going to do ours in our art journals. Now, having said that, if you would prefer to do yours on canvas or canvas board, by all means, go ahead and do that. Canvas is what I'm referring to. Canvas, it's your typical canvas, right? It's got the wood frame and then it's stretched canvas over it and stapled in the back. Canvas board, in case you're not familiar with it, is this is a canvas board that my 6-year-old was playing with. So, but this is a canvas board, so it's not mounted and it's not canvas stretched across a wooden frame. It's just literally on board. So this is what we would call a canvas board, or they call it a canvas panel. Okay, so you could do it on that. These are inexpensive. They are more inexpensive than, say, stretched canvas. Okay, so you can do it on stretched canvas, you can do it on canvas board, or in your art journal. So I'm going to do this one for our November journal prompt in my one of my art journals. So soul paintings. So what do I mean by soul paintings? Just in case you are not familiar, let me see if I can grab one here. Actually, hold on. Okay, I'm back. I had to go get some over from the other side of the room. Soul paintings are, let me see if I can span out here and give you the full image. So this is one of my soul paintings that I've recently done and had shared on social media. And obviously this is on stretched canvas. Okay, so it is just the figure, faceless, and I added a lot of texture and different colors of paint, that sort of thing. So with soul paintings, you're not so much worried about it. The focus isn't about the face, right? It's our soul. Our souls don't have a face, if you think of it that way. That's just the outside. You've heard of the term a soul having a human experience, right? Living a human experience. We're all souls on this earth living a human experience. And that's where my mindset is at when I do a soul painting, that this is just our inner soul. And the colors that I choose are what energies are attached or not attached, that's the wrong word. What energies the soul, a particular soul holds, okay? Because color has energy. Color inspires mood, right? Some colors we find soothing, some colors, bring out, ooh, that kind of that kind of reaction, and it's different for everybody. So that's what I mean by soul paintings, that I just do a figure, a shape, and it's faceless, and I work mostly in expressing the energy of that soul, the character of that soul, through the color selection and the textures and the mark making, that sort of thing, okay? And that's what we're going to work on this month for November, in creating your own soul painting. So you can just choose whatever, choose to do a soul painting that is not your own personal, a reflection of your own personal soul. Or if you want to make it more personal, being that it is in your art journal, and the art in your art journal generally is much more personal, you can do a soul painting of that is a reflection of your own personal inner soul. okay? And that's what I'm going to be doing for this month's soul journal in my art journal or soul painting in my art journal is I'm going to do a soul painting that is a reflection of my own personal soul. Okay, so these are just some of the ones that I have done. And just to give you an example of what they are, what they look like, what we're heading for. And it's simple enough to do, right? So I'm going to be using my journal here. So if you haven't already, you can continue watching this video, or you can pause it right here and then continue, play back and follow along. So I am going to start. I already have this page prepped. This is a page that I had prepped some time ago, several weeks ago, and I have done nothing with it other than add some additional paint that was on a paintbrush at one point and just threw it on there. So these colors may stay and they may not stay. It really doesn't matter at this point. They probably won't stay. So, and I had ripped part of the page just to give it a different shape, so it's just not all these square, rectangular, whatever, straight-edged shapes, pages. So, I already prepped my page with collage, and I'd already kind of scraped on with my palette knife just some white paint, just kind of blend the background in. And give it a little bit of texture. So now that I've done that, and that has been done, and you should go ahead and do that too. And again, you can continue to watch this video and just watch me do this, or you can pause it and go ahead and do that and then pick up where you left off here. So at this point, I'm just going to look at my prepped page, and there's a couple of ways you can go about doing this, and it just depends on you, the individual. You can use this time right now and just write something on here, or you can do some scribbles, whatever you want to do, but you can write something on here, just kind of set the energy of the soul painting, okay? So whatever, it could be a poem, it could be something, a quote that you really like, that you think represents you, the real you, the you that's inside. So you can go ahead and do that, or you can, like I said, if there's certain shapes or symbols, that sort of thing, you can even do that on here. So again, that's an optional. You don't have to do that, but if you want to, you can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do that. Mine is not going to be something you can read because it is personal. So I'm just going to do a bunch of scribbles, but I'll know the intent of the scribbles, okay? Okay, so I've done that. And now from this point, I'm going to take my graphite pencil here, and I'm going to draw the shape of my soul, the outline, the body shape. So I'm trying to think of here, where do I want this? Do I want it here? Do I want it here? I'm just going to draw and see what happens. Or, you know what? I know. I'm going to do this. Just going over it a few times, the head shape, because I have scribbled on it and I just want to make sure I can see the lines. And like this. And it doesn't have to be perfect, as with anything that we do in our art journals. The perfection is overrated, goes out the window. And I think I'm going to do just a little different shape here, like that, so it kind of goes out. See how it goes. All right. Okay, so now that I've done that, I can do one of two things. I have a rough sketch here of where the soul shape is going to be. I can now then just concentrate on working on the background. I'm just slapping some paint on here, some color that I want to do. Generally I like to do a neutral background. Just go back to these. So I did some just basic, like yellow and some white, and then I made some marks. And this one here is all white, different tones of white, and a little bit of black showing and a little bit of blue. Okay, so I like to keep it neutral because again, the main point, the focal point of this is the soul itself, the soul images. So you don't want to make the backgrounds too busy, ideally. Okay, but again, it's up to you. That's just a suggestion. That's just what I do. So from here, I can go ahead and paint around and just add some neutral background. That doesn't mean that the background is finished. I can keep adding layers to it and keep doing to it, but at least kind of get the foundation of the first layer of the background done. So I think I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to get some paint. So I'm going to use just a palette knife, and I've just got some inexpensive white paint here, and I'm just going to kind of, oh, this is a really funky palette knife. You know what? I'm going to get a brush. Hold on. Actually, what is this? No, that's not a brush. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so I've got a brush. I'm just going to double some on here. Try not to get any paint on my clothes because I'm not wearing my painting clothes. And I'm just going to very roughly, not getting too fancy or picky or whatever, just brush it in. Where's that plastic protector here? There we go. And And again, don't worry if the lines on your soul image get a little mucked up and muddied up or disappear a bit because of the painting of the background. It's easy to bring it back. It's not a big deal. Just redraw it. Okay, so I did that. And now I'm going to add a smidgen of this yellow ochre to the background. This may stay and it may not, but we shall see. All right. And let's see. Nope, this palette. Oops. Shot right out of me. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to wipe some paint off my top because when the palette knife shot out of my hand, it just wiped the paint on my top on the way down to the floor. All right, so there's the background. And I apologize if I'm going a little too quickly here. I'm trying not to have this a super long video. Okay, so now that I've done just the basic background and keeping it neutral, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to start adding, painting in the shape of my soul image. So I'm going to do this, doing a little something different than I normally do on canvas, and that's what art journals are for. They're for playing around. So as you can see, I'm just adding the one color, and again, it's the yellow ochre. So I'm starting with a base color on the image, the figure, and then from there I build up and I start adding other colors. And usually when I do that, I use a palette knife, just because I love the way it goes on. It puts on the paint, and it's not just this solid color, and the ochre will still come through, and it's like doing an abstract within the soul painting, right? It's, look at this, right? It's like doing an abstract painting within the shape of the soul figure. And that's what I love about these. Okay, so I got that. I'm gonna let that dry and then we'll come back and then I'll start doing the next few layers. Okay, I'm back and the paint has dried. And now I'm just gonna slowly start adding other layers of paint and just taking it from there. Okay, so I've added quite a bit of color, sticking with the yellow ochre, some burnt umber, and burnt sienna, along with, I can't read it, the writing's kind of smudged off, some medium red color, and of course some white. So I'm going to let this sit and dry for a bit. It's very busy, which is fine. That's all part of the process. So you're adding a bunch of colors that you want to see and add to your soul painting. And then what I generally do is that I then let it dry. And then I go back with the original color, which in this case was the yellow ochre. So we'll go back in and then I'll slowly, using my palette knife, just brush it on again. So it's reintroducing the original color, only this time it'll be all these other colors kind of peeking through. That's just my method. That's the way I'm choosing to do it here. And it's up to you if you want to do it that way. So I mean, you could leave it the way this is if that's the way it works for you. And like I said, this is just about creating your own soul painting and what painting that represents your own inner soul. I'm finding it interesting that when I drew the original shape of my soul painting with the lead pencil, or with the pencil, that I was drawing it this way, where I had it kind of going out across the page. So I'm interested to see how this goes and what that means and what that looks like. So what the final outcome is. Some of these colors are getting a little muddy here, which I'm loving in this because it's creating this unusual color. I also like all these other things here. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you here. Yeah, this area here, I love that. The red's coming through and the blues and the browns. And then, like I said, this whole other new color came up here. So I really, really like that. So, like I said, I'm gonna let this dry and we'll take it from there. Okay, I'm back. So while I was off camera, I ended up doing a little bit more. And I did add some more of the yellow ochre, which, like I said before, was reintroducing the original color that I put down. So that's what I did. And then I came back in with some of the blue, some more of the brown, and I also went over the background again using my palette knife. I have not used a paintbrush, only my palette knife, and I just went over with some white, adding the white again on the background. I'm going to leave this here again and let the paint dry. I may end up adding some black chalkboard paint to this area right here just to do some journaling in it. Since this is in my art journal, I might give this area a space to do some scribble journaling. So we will see how it evolves. But anyway, before I leave you here and allow this paint to dry, I just wanted to say that, do not get stressed out over this, and do not feel that you have to do what I am doing here. You do not need to have to do a soul painting like this, where it's stretched out like that. You can, obviously, if you want. It's your choice. It's up to you how you want to represent your soul in your art journal. But I didn't want you to feel that you had to make yours look the exact same way as mine, using the same colors, only using a palette knife. This is all just my personal choice with what I wanted to work with today in this. You could use a paintbrush, you could use your hands and do finger painting instead. You could use a makeup sponge only. You could use all of these tools. It's strictly up to you. Play around with it and allow it to just show up on the page however way it wants to show up. As long as you're putting in your intent and you're putting in your I'm going to use the word love. You putting in your love into your painting and what you're doing in the process, in the journey, because really at the end of the day, that's really what's so important, is just the journey. Because if you don't, for me with painting overall, whether it's in an art journal or on canvas at my easel, if I'm not enjoying or loving the journey, there's no point. I could care less about the final outcome if I'm not enjoying the journey of it. And that's what brings me back to the easel over and over and over again all these years, is because I love the journey. I love the journey of having all this unfold in front of me. I love the journey of the medicine that it brings for me. Medicine, art is healing, and at least that's what I find for myself. So anyway, I didn't mean to get long-winded there. It's just something I feel very passionate about, and I just wanted to just offer a little bit of reassurance to you as well, in case you're getting a little worried. As you can see, this is all messy. It's all muddy colors and everything like that, and it doesn't matter. So maybe for you it does, and that's perfectly fine. So I'm just showing you what I know, and I'm just showing you the way I do things. And you are obviously more than welcome to take what I give you, use what works for you, and leave behind what doesn't work for you, and just wing it or do it your own way and play around with it, and maybe you'll find other ways that work for you better. So with all that said, I'm going to leave this here, let it dry, close up my paint. I always forget to do that, put the lids back on my paint jars, and come back to this later. Okay, I am back, and basically just going to pick up where I left off and continue to add some more layers and some more color on this, and just see where it goes. So I'm going to stop talking, or not talk through this part, and just just videotape this part, and just so you can watch me work. Okay. Okay, so I've added some other, or introduced some other colors, some yellows and oranges, and the fluorescent magenta as well. Just touches of it here and here. I don't know if you can see it if I zoom in. Yeah. Okay, and then I also took my Stabilo Woody and I just outlined very roughly, very loosely, the outline of the soul image. And I'm going to let the paint set again, let it dry a bit, and then I'm going to add some mark making. So I'm going to use my Stabilo, the woody one, along with my other Stabilo All. So I'll be using that. And you can just use a black pencil crayon. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. You don't even have to do that at all. Do mark making, or you can use another color. I'm using these just because they're water reactive, so I could spritz it with water and it will react, which is the look I'm going for. So I'll be doing that and taking as well some of my oil pastels and doing some little mark makings here and there with the oil pastels. Then I'm going to do a little bit more to the background, not too much, and then that might be it. We shall see. I might do some writing along here. I thought I was going to do it in the body of the soul image, but I might do it on top, but I'm not quite sure. I haven't finalized that yet. Just kind of playing around with it and seeing how it goes. All right, I'll be back soon. Okay, so I'm back, and as you can see, there's been quite a bit of progress since the last video taping I did. I have added another layer of yellow ochre over some of the colors in here, but the other colors are still coming through. I also added a bright yellow as well in spots, but again, it's very subtle. And I've also kind of, what else have I done here? Went over some more of the background. Excuse me. Also used my wooden Stabilo and Stabilo Woody, and my Stabilo All. Again, you can just use a black pencil crayon if you want to do this for mark making, but I use this because it's radio. Oh my goodness, pardon me. It's water reactive, not radio reactive. I believe that's the name of a song. So it's water reactive. So that's why I like to use it. So anyway, I've done that, and I've added a few other little, details and that kind of thing here. So at this point, I have already used some of my oil pastels and did some marks here. So I may just add a little bit more. I can just get an oil pastel here, trying to select a color. I wonder if I have it here, actually. Maybe I do. Oh, no, maybe I don't. Okay, hold on a second here. I want to find this particular color. There it is. And what other color do I want to use? Well, there's its little friends there. So I have these two different shades of blue, and I also have a white. Now, these are oil pastels, and this little stubby here is actually a Crayola pastel. It was the first set of pastels that I bought years ago for myself. So they are by Crayola. They are water soluble, and I still have them. Obviously the white one is used a lot, and they're great to use for making marks and stuff like that. And these, I do not remember which brand they are from, but I love them. So in any case, I'm going to use these and just do a little bit more mark making here and there, and then I might call it done. but we will see. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit more white detail or white layers here to the background using my palette knife. I'm not looking for brush strokes or anything like that. I just wanted to get the effect that a palette knife offers. With regards to the background here. Okay, so let me get these out of the way. And I think I might just do a little, there we go. All right, now I'm gonna get my water bottle because I had done some marks here, and I'm just gonna lightly spritz. There. Might have done some here yesterday, not sure. No. Okay, so that is it. I think I'm going to call her done. I'm really happy with how she turned out. She went in a different shape than I originally normally do them, so I'm glad that I did something different and just went with it and saw what happened. And yeah, this was really fun. I love all the colors that are in her. So this is it. So I hope you are or have enjoyed doing this project, or I hope you find the time this month in November to do this project. It's not something you have to do all in one sitting. You can, do it in stages throughout the whole month and just keep adding to her. You can even throughout the month just add in, little words here and there as well. That symbolize who you are, who your inner soul is, and just keep, going with it, sort of thing, until you reach that point where you look at it and you go, yes, that represents me, that represents who I am. And in this way, with regards to soul paintings, you're really expressing yourself on who you are on a soul level through the use of color and shapes, mark making, all these sort of things. So that's what I really love about it. It's not something that's blatant and obvious, it's something that's subtle, it's hidden, and everyone's going to see something different when they look at a soul painting. But being that it's in my art journal, or in your art journal, and maybe it's only for your eyes only, and as long as it has special meaning to you, and the colors and shapes and marks that you chose all have special meaning to you, that's what counts at the end of the day. So anyway, I certainly enjoyed this, and I'm excited to see what you have done, and I hope, if you don't mind sharing, if you're comfortable sharing, go ahead, please do so in the group. And otherwise, I will see you later.